Hi, welcome to Just Love and Designs. I am here to show you a tutorial on how to use a crochet hook for provisional cast on for knitting. With this, you will need your knitting needle, and then I like to use the same size of crochet hook or maybe one size smaller, but nothing bigger. You'll need your working yarn and then some waste yarn. And for waste yarn, I like to use sock yarn, just because the weight of the waste yarn doesn't matter, but the smoothness does. And I think sock yarn is nice and smooth and is easy to pick out. All right, so first I'm gonna put my working yarn off the side because I don't need that yet. We're gonna start with our waste yarn, our needle, and our crochet hook. Now with this cast on, when you unpick it, you actually end up losing kind of like half a stitch. So to make that equal, there's a couple different ways you can do it. You can cast on one more stitch than you need and then just decrease out that stitch, or you can pick up an extra stitch after you unpick your provisional cast on. Either way, I'm going to show you with casting on one extra stitch. So first you're going to start with a slip knot that we're going to place on our crochet hook. So you hold your knitting needle in your left hand, crochet hook in your right hand with the slip knot on it. And I like to place my crochet hook kind of crisscross on top of my knitting needle. And I just kind of pinch those two together. And then you're going to grab that waste yarn, the working end of the waste yarn, not the tail end, and bring it underneath the needle and then wrap a stitch and pull it through your crochet hook. And then to get another stitch ready to go, you go between, kind of, you see how I went underneath the needle, but also underneath the crochet hook. Wrap your yarn and put a stitch on. So just keep going under that needle and adding your stitches. Two, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11. So for the swatch, I'm going to do 12. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So I'm going to cast on one extra one. And then when you're all done, I like to just put on some straight chains, not going around the needle, just so I know where the end of my yarn is that I'm going to pick out later. And I like to just try to pull a nice long loop and leave it there, because when you go to pull out, once you pull that end, that's how it starts to unravel. So I kind of like to leave that nice long loop there. All right, now we're ready to start knitting, and we'll take our working yarn. And first I'm going to, now if you're doing this either in the round or flat, I like to do my decrease back here at the beginning. So I don't decrease right away because I don't want to mess with this crocheted cast on edge. So I'll knit one full row, and then on the end of my second row, I will do a decrease. If I was doing it in the round, I'd knit around one full row, and when I come back to the beginning of the round, I do a decrease at the beginning of the round. But here I'm just knitting flat and leaving tail, because this again is your working yarn that you're going to want to weave in at the end. And so I'm going to knit across. And I'm just going to work this swatch and garter stitch. So that's knitting on both sides of the fabric. All right, there's one row. And then I'm going to turn my work. And I'm going to knit back. And again, I'm going to decrease out 1 stitch at the end of this row. So on my wrong side row, or like I said, if you were in the round, it'd be at the beginning of your round. Now I'm going to do a knit 2 together here. All right, and now I should have 12 stitches. And there you go. You can see that chain kind of laying underneath of our provisional cast on and our first row of garter ridge. I'm going to knit a few more rows and then bind off so I have a finished edge on one side, and I will come back and show you guys how to unpick your cast on. All right, I am back and I have finished doing a few more rows on my garter stitch, and then I bound off. So this is the right side that's facing, and you can see here's the cast on edge. There's what we started knitting across. So how you're gonna do unpicking your provisional cast on is I like to flip my work over so I can pick up along the edge, and you can kind of see where these stitches are coming up between that waste yarn. So we're going to pick up the live stitches that we will reveal once we start undoing our waste yarn. So again, I'm just pulling on this tail end, and I'll start unraveling our chain. And I want to get my So this first one, you can see it's right down in here. Now you can just pull on your stitch. It's not pulling very nice. I don't want to lose that. There we go. And then grab that stitch before you get it all the way out if you want. Or you can just pull on it and come back around. Let's get that yarn out of the way. See that live stitch and grab it, and you can see I'm kind of coming through the top and poking down. I generally like to go through it with my needle and then pull my stitch out, my waste yarn out, just so I don't drop that stitch. Depends on how grabby your yarn is. I like to kind of just go through the stitch, pull the waste yarn, through the stitch, pull the waste yarn, and keep going all the way down. There we go. Pull that remaining out. And then you're done with your waste yarn. You can just throw that away. Don't need it anymore. Now you have all your stitches up on your needle. And here you can change color if you want. I'm just using the same color. So I'm going to grab some working yarn, leave a tail, and start knitting across. There's one row. Now I'm going to flip, do the wrong side. Again, since I'm doing garter stitch, I'm going to knit across. All right, and there you have it. That's the crocheted provisional cast on and how to pick up your cast on. And you can see that there's no real difference between one side and the other. When you work this in the same color, different colors, you can't really tell the difference. And we just like, now, see, this was before when I was working that direction. This is my right side and the beginning of my row. I'm still on the right side, but my beginning of the row is the opposite way because I'm working the other direction now. I hope you enjoyed that tutorial. I hope it helps you with your provisional crocheted cast on. Thank you.